So I've been to Israel many times. The whole country's a fortress. When I first heard this story, I still have the same gut instinct that I did initially. I find this very hard to believe. I gotta be careful the way I say this. They're gonna try to ethnically cleanse Gaza. They're talking about basically removing 2.5 million people from there, okay? There are some serious questions here, Patrick.
I'm more coming from a place of thinking this was intentional.
I am a Riva, and I was taught how to pray Salah.
That means every single time I pray,
the person who taught me gets the reward.
5 times a day, from Fajr to Isha.
If you want to support someone like me in learning Salah,
then sponsor 10 people for just £100.
Remember the Prophet, peace be upon him, said,
charity does not decrease wealth. Click the button and donate now.
Assalamu alaikum, brothers and sisters. If you're watching this video and it's Salah time, please pause it and go pray and come back when you're done. Please check out the description section of this video to support the channel. I briefly covered the Charlie Kirk assassination previously, so to summarise, the Muslim position is we don't condone or celebrate any violence, nor do we participate in mourning an individual that expressed extremely negative views about Islam, Muslims and Palestine. However, since his death, evidence has emerged that Charlie Kirk was turning against Israel, and the most damning was his appearance on PBD's podcast, where Charlie claimed the Israeli government orchestrated the October 7, 2023 attack so that they would have an excuse to ethnically cleanse Gaza and take it over. This segment has been deleted from YouTube since Charlie Kirk's fatal shooting, which just further incriminates Israel. However, I was able to find it. Here it is.
So I've been to Israel many times. The whole country's a fortress. When I first heard this story, I still have the same gut instinct that I did initially. I find this very hard to believe. I've been to that Gaza border. You cannot go 10 feet without running into a 19-year-old with an AR-15 or an automatic machine gun that is an IDF soldier, right? The whole country is surveilled. And so let me just kind of go through this. We don't talk about Israeli politics very often, and most Americans don't know this. The last 9 months, Israel was on the brink of civil war. It's not an exaggeration. This judicial stuff, there were hundreds of thousands of Israelis taking to the streets because Bibi Netanyahu was basically redefining the Israeli constitution. That's not an exaggeration, right? He said the judicial branch has too much power. There were protests planned this week against Netanyahu, where they anticipated tens of thousands of people to take to the streets. That's all gone, Patrick. Netanyahu now has an emergency government and a mandate to lead. I'm not willing to go so far that saying that Netanyahu knew or there was intelligence here, but I think some questions need to be asked. Was there a stand down order? Was there a stand down order? 6 hours? I don't believe it. Israel's the size of New Jersey. When I took a helicopter ride from Jerusalem to the Gaza border, it's 45 minutes. Wow. 6 hours. They're live streaming the killing of Jews. Did somebody in the government say stand down? That is a legitimate, non-conspiracy question. The whole country is the IDF. The whole country is. Yeah. And you're trying to tell me that they're going to concerts and kibbutzes and schools and by reports 6 hours. Let's say it's 3 hours.
That's suspect. Go ahead, Rob.
It's also not like a right-wing reporting. This is from the New York Times. The long wait for help as massacre unfolds in Israel. I can't think of a more liberal news outlet than the New York Times.
And by the way, I'm actually very pro-Israel. So let me be very, so I'm not exactly.
Well, I think we all are.
No, I just want to make sure my position is clear here. But so Patrick, there are other explanations. It's possible that the Netanyahu government was double-crossed by bad agents. Okay? That's dark, but it's not as dark as what we're talking about. Okay? Another aspect is that Netanyahu might have traitors in his government, like legitimate traitors that have infiltrated. I was texting with some senior people in the IDF, and they said, Charlie, can't say too much, but let's just say the same problem you have with the left in America, we have here in Israel. So there's something to think about. Just something to think about, right? Is that maybe there's some people within those intel agencies that aren't as sympathetic. Or maybe, Patrick, maybe they might have gotten a tip. They might have gotten whispers, but no one thought it would be 1,200 Jews dead. That's a potential, right? Here's the essence of it. The essence is this. This is the closest thing to the Holocaust that any of us have lived through. But the fact is now Bibi and the Israeli hard right government has a mandate. I got to be careful the way I say this. They're going to try to ethnically cleanse Gaza. Yep. I mean, I don't use that term lightly, okay? They're talking about basically removing 2.5 million people from there, okay? And honestly, they have a mandate to go seek justice and revenge. They do. This idea that they need to have a truce or a peace treaty, that's morally crap after you see women and children be burned alive and dragged to the streets. But there are some serious questions here, Patrick. And let me tell you, my pattern recognition over the last 5 years has become pretty sharp. COVID, Maui fires, Epstein. when I see a story and it doesn't click, our guts are usually right.
Yeah, this one's very weird.
Can I comment on the, when you use the term ethnic cleansing, that will, make the hairs on the back
I'm not
of your
accusing
head.
them
No,
of that.
I'm not. I'm just saying that term. I actually did some research specifically on that because that is a very slippery slope. And if you actually want to talk about what Jews and even Christians should be most fearful of, Muslims as well, is the concept of ethnic cleansing.
So I just want to be very sorry to interrupt.
Sure.
I'm saying that's what they're going to be accused of.
Correct.
But if there are some people in public life in Israel that, Patrick, what did your pilot guy say? I want only Jews in Israel, right? Okay, that is a form of ethnically cleansing because 20% of Israel is Arab. My plead to Israel is be precise, be focused in your retaliation. You have a moral right to go and seek the blood of the people that did this. What I think would be bad for Israel, and I have a heart for Israel. I can't tell you what it did. It made me a stronger Christian in a way I can't even tell you, right? Be able to see where our Lord rose from the dead. My heart for Israel is that they don't overreact. And Patrick, you hear what I'm saying here, right?
That's my concern because if they do, if they do overreact, I'm more coming from a place of thinking this was intentional. If they don't overreact, then this wasn't intentional. Meaning, if all of a sudden you see an all-out annihilation.
What do you mean by intentional? That they knew it was going to happen?
That no, when you're asking about the stand down 6 hours and 3 hours, then why did you? What intel are you getting? So we're on the same page.
Fair enough.
All I'm saying
I just wanted to make sure I understood.
If there is a major attack, it was intentional. If there's a major attack. And by the way, the number in the last however many years, the biggest number they have is 2,000, right? The Palestinians that died. That's the biggest number they've had. And in Gaza, if you look at the Gaza Strip, if you can pull up the map so you can kind of show Gaza Strip, the West Bank, and where Hezbollah is coming from Lebanon. Yeah, but in West Bank, it's a different story because in West Bank, at least 42% of Palestinians there support Hamas, but in Gaza, it's 58%.
And
so
Hamas really isn't in those regions.
Yeah, it really is not in those regions. So this is Gaza Strip, all the way to the left.
Can I emphasize though?
Sure, go for
Look
it.
at the cameras, the radars. Patrick, not only did they go in,
That's what I'm saying.
No, but hear me out here. Not only did they go into Israel, they got out of Israel with hostages.
Yeah, 100 hostages.
So you would think, let me just hear me out. There's a penetration of your border wall, okay? That you guard on a holy day, the 50-year anniversary of the Yom Kippur War. And you would think, hey, they're going to come back. Let's make sure that doesn't happen. Let's mobilize some forces. And it is not quite, but it is close to the North Korean demilitarizing.
What's weird about what you're saying that gets even more credibility is you're a pro-Israel guy.
No, that I want to be very clear.
No, fully, I know that. So I want to make sure the audience knows this. So for you to question that and for me to question, I'm like sitting here saying, how did you not know this was taking place?
I never thought I'd find myself agreeing with Charlie Kirk on anything, but here we are. This guy, as he said, was very pro-Israel. So for him to turn around and admit that October 7th was an inside job is catastrophic for the Israeli government, especially since he'd been to Israel many times and knew the security setup, as well as the layout of the country as a whole. For Charlie Kirk to go on a platform like PBD's and expose that the Israeli public were protesting against Benjamin Netanyahu for his political corruption prior to October 7th provides yet another motive for Netanyahu to take him out. As he said, October 7th not only ensured that Netanyahu stayed in charge, but also took away all political opposition towards him. Charlie Kirk was a person in close contact with high-ranking people in the IDF and the Israeli government, which again he admitted to in this segment. And after this interview, he went on to shell for Israel as usual. But since his assassination, so much evidence has emerged online that behind the scenes he wanted out, and was receiving a lot of pressure and threats from the Israeli regime as a result. As we saw, the whole PBD panel was visibly stunned by Charlie Kirk's admission that October 7th was intentionally planned by Israel, so much so that even Patrick Bet-David, another Israeli shell, had to admit something seems off about the whole thing. I'm not sure if it was YouTube that removed this video or it was PBD himself, but whatever the case, the fact that it was removed just further arouses suspicions. I personally think the guy that's been arrested for Charlie Kirk's murder is a patsy, because from looking at him, he doesn't seem capable of carrying out a hit like this. Plus, other things don't add up, like the elderly Jewish man who first pretended to be the shooter, which allowed time for the real shooter to get away, or the Zionist-owned private jet switching off its radar and flying away not far from the shooting after it had occurred, or Netanyahu tweeting moments after it happened and then going on various news networks to blame Muslims. Everybody share this video far and wide while you can, because it probably won't stay up long. Thank you for watching. Make sure to join my free Telegram group via the link in the description, and remember to like, subscribe and become a channel member for access to exclusive content. Until next time, inshallah, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allah.